how'd you get? I was curious, John. You had to watch this during your lunch break. How'd you get through it?
Took me 3 days.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I watched. I hadn't seen it since it came out. I saw it the year it came out in the theater. So, and I realized that that was the version I saw. I guess that's what was released originally with the NC-17.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
the R-rated cut was made for Blockbuster.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I knew I even there's not a ton of it I remembered from how many. What year was this thing made?
92.
From 92 till now. It was like I remembered the drug use. I remembered
the penis.
The penis.
Uh-huh.
And I remember
we all remember the penis.
And the traffic stop with the two girls. And so it's like, okay, that's the version I saw. Most definitely.
I always, whenever I think about this movie, I think about a Dennis Miller joke, which was, I've seen Harvey Keitel's penis more than I've seen my own penis, and I've seen my own penis a lot.
That makes sense.
His penis was in a lot of movies around that time.
Well, this one and the piano are the only two I can. What else?
Well, why not?
I think we just started to exaggerate it because he did 2 in a row.
That's why he's paid the big bucks.
I confused Tarantino for Keitel's penis in Pulp Fiction. Does that count?
I'm kind of hard pressed to think about what this is. A very this guy. He does a good deed and just fucks up the entire movie and tries to fix it. It's such a moral vacuum, this film.
Yes, it
is. But this
so
movie,
I think it has something to do with Abel Ferrara.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, when you find out that everyone except for the actors making this movie were just high out of their absolute goddamn mind for the entire
makes
thing.
sense.
Like,
who did Abel write this? Who wrote this?
This woman, the one.
It's a question of who wrote it.
Yes.
So that's what I think.
Woman, the woman he does
Bill
with?
Finkelstein wrote
This
it.
one wrote it.
The redhead. Yeah. Okay.
She claims that she wrote it, or at least
She does. She does. Her name is on it. I think it says both of their names.
Is that the one who died of OD? Is that the
yes, she died.
She died in '99.
They called her on Wikipedia a heroin and advocate.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
The shooting up scene. She's actually shooting up heroin.
Yeah,
she's
we could
doing that
definitely
for
real.
real.
Yeah.
That is absolutely.
This is.
If that was faked, it was like, how the fuck did they do that? Because it's.
I don't know if she shot up Keitel or not, but it looked like it. She did.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
But she might have drawn some blood and then pumped it back into.
Yeah. So it was a good nod though. It was like boink, and I was like, okay, but you want to take real heroin because you want to do retakes, right? Like I want to do a different angle.
But I think that
Ferrara
was
taking cocaine the whole time he was making the movie. So
there you go.
Or maybe heroin. I don't know.
Pressman was, the producer was, like everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm going to argue that that is, how different is that from anything else they're making in '92 outside of like a Spielberg movie? It's like
I don't know. I think there was a lot. I think there were a lot.
There was probably more in the '80s.
Yeah, the 80s.
That seems like a '70s, '80s thing.
Yeah, probably the kids who did the Goonies were all ripped out of their heads the entire time. We have no idea.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of the Goonies, actually.
I've been to Astoria, and you have to be ripped out of your head to do anything.
Exactly, that's true. But,
I think the script here, though, is among one of the many strengths in this film because it's so unsentimental and it's so.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so, but yet it has this emotional core that I think a lot of movies, even prior to this and definitely after this, try to achieve often. And it's so authentic here. I think it's done so straightforward. I mean, this is a piece of shit who does one little thing of redemption, and the thing he does is to these horrible, horrible, horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can't, like, that is so smart. I think from a story standpoint. I mean, it's literally like the parallel with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus would do the same thing. Jesus would go and give something to, based on sort of the stories in the Bible and et cetera. Like, he would probably go to the worst people and try and help and say, have all this, money and go and be better or whatever.
Well, it's like the story of the Good Samaritan, because we all, and historically, Samaritans weren't very good people in the eyes of the people who wrote the Bible.
Well, and yeah, I love this fucking parent. I'm just gonna say nothing but good things about both these fucking movies. I love these movies, but
can't fathom why the nun forgives them. He just can't. And then once he realizes. Completely.
That is the funniest line in the whole movie, is when he's standing in the church next to the nun and he says, "Get with the program, sister."
And you want to talk about like a Madonna substitute, man? That's cute. It's cute nun with the red hair. You know, it's like it
she's
makes other
gorgeous.
things, yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
it's
other
weird.
things happen in this movie. You know,
But I've seen like a lot of Abel Ferrara movies, like at least a handful, and like this is the best one. I mean, it just is. It's just he's
So
got
much
something.
of this. Well, so I mean, yes, absolutely. He brings this authenticity to it that there's absolutely, he couldn't have, like, he probably couldn't have done it if he hadn't been the person he was. But then you gotta give a lot of the credit to Keitel, because imagine
Oh
this
yeah.
movie, imagine this movie with anybody else, Nicolas Cage, in the lead role.
Walken was supposed to be the lead. They wanted Walken.
He bounced right before filming.
oh man,
No, I think this is definitely one of Keitel's best performances.
I am afraid of him to this day because of this movie.
maybe
and
De Niro could have pulled it off, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think De Niro
Keitel's
has
kinda
somehow a weird kind of depth that Keitel can go
Keitel's
to.
kind of,
I think
he's kind
Pacino
of
could have
rangy and
pulled it
ropey.
off.
He's kind of low to the ground, and he's got that. Keitel is very much.
Keitel is built like a
street guy.
fucking brick
Yeah,
shithouse too.
right.
By
He's
the
like
way,
a
dude.
silverback
He's
gorilla.
Yes,
Yeah.
but man, what a performance! Like that stuff when near the end when he knows he's fucked, and you hear that him kind of moaning.
Oh, the church scene, the church scene where he's talking to Jesus is
Yeah.
so fucking good.
Yeah,
It's
that
the
moan
sound
is
he
like-
makes at the end of Reservoir Dogs, right before.
Yes, it is.
It's
It
the
is.
same sound he
Yeah,
makes.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same sound he makes.
Right before he
Yep.
shoots Tim Roth.
The guy is
The
Right before he
suffering.
shoots Tim Roth.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. I know. He's tied this thing a little deeper than most actors go. He
It's
goes. I think he's
amazing.
going to a deep place. He does. This.
Yeah,
He was apparently in character the entire time too.
Oh,
You can't,
he did not break character. in this movie.
imagine reading that script there where it's like Jesus is standing in the middle of the church and you have to yell at him. I think worse writers, worse directors, worse actors could have botched that very, very easily. But here it was ripping my guts out,
Uh-huh.
It's
I mean,
so good.
it's walking this line of like, you either buy this or you don't.
Well, and the Jesus is so well done. Like that actor, the lighting, the
Stands there
framing,
like a statue.
Yeah,
all
just
all this stuff. It's like
it's so gorgeous. It's like a painting. They just nailed it.
a gorgeous thing in a rather ugly looking movie. It's
Yeah.
all
Well,
like,
I don't think it's ugly. I think it's gritty.
it's gritty. Well, it's shot in the fly.
By the way, the transfer is amazing.
It is
like
it's really good.
This is
incredible.
This is like a slightly cleaned up, French Connection, with a little bit less frenetic camera work, or a lot less frenetic
It's a
camera.
lot funnier.
Oh
It
yeah, I'll
is.
give you that. So few intentional jokes in this movie,
Until Uncut Gems came out, I thought this was the most amount of New York shitheads you could fit in one movie. Like this is really an epic New York shithead movie.
Yeah.
And I yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh?
Time has not
And
kind
who
of
yeah.
time gave that
But this-
gave the last scene a crown. It's like this is exactly what this.
But this
film is about.
ending is so fucking.
What I
good.
love is that half of
Perfect.
the people around the car are completely oblivious, don't even give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like two people care.
Half, yeah, like
Well, by the end, it's like 5 are gathering or so. But
I
yeah,
just
at
think
first, I think it's one woman at first going, "There's something going on here."
Well, they grab the other people. Like
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
New
yeah.
York.
It's
That's
like-
a New York thing too.
Yeah.
It's like people walking down the street,
But-
something happens, nobody
I was
notices,
paying
and then one
attention.
person notices and starts grabbing other people.
I mean, I just
I
rewatched.
just noticed the
But
fucking
I mean, it's
billboard,
like
man.
you stand out in public and stare up in the sky. Eventually, some people are going to join you. And
Well,
start-
for fun, last week I watched Training Day, which I had seen before, which I think is a pretty good movie.
Great
But
film.
it's very, very Hollywood in every way. And the end of Training Day is the same ending as this movie. And Anton Fuqua is a much, I think, lesser filmmaker, in my opinion, because those guys shoot up Denzel's character in the same, it's, hey, cop, I mean, it's the same, but he does this machine guns. Denzel gets out, he's spinning around, there's blood flying. Here you've got what I think is more of a, European approach, a beautiful, it's just like, it's a wide shot. It's from across the street. It's the car. Hey, go, pop, pop.
Yeah.
that
and then he
shitty
just
Trump banner
and
in
he,
the
and he
background.
holds it. He holds it almost like a Haneke film, right? Like it's just perfect. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
Well,
he's out.
I will point out that one of my favorite description of Trump is from a sports writer named Jeb Lund, who was like, I remember Trump mostly as a widely maligned local oaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that was
Oaf
like,
is the key word.
that's the like the joke of it happening in front of Trump Plaza is Trump was considered this like cheap bullshit artist
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
Early
and
90s,
like
yeah, he was a
Yeah.
short-fingered Bulgarian.
Yeah, you
Right.
can
Well,
feel
it-
the irony.
Yeah.
But
It goes along with the betting the gambling narrative.
all the
he was in
gambling.
he was in process of like bankrupting all his casinos when this was happening. So it was
Yeah,
all,
this
you
is
didn't need-
this is around the time he's like half saving the WWE too. Like
Yeah.
that's
And
it's very weird.
Also in this movie,
it's probably a complete coincidence that he's in this thing, but I think it's amazing now. I just sometimes things just work out.
this movie also didn't need to show you those gangsters, right? It was one guy in a bar saying, "Dude, they're gonna fucking kill you." Like
Right.
it's so and we just get it. We're like, these are dudes you don't want to mess with. It. You don't have to show them. You don't have to have a scene with them. It's just they'll kill you for less than what's going on right now. And then of course they do.
Oh, so I think I think Tad brought up Uncut Gems, because this guy has obviously a terrible gambling problem, right? Except in that one, even though he ends up
Well, he's just
popped,
a poor gambler.
he's a poor gambler. Even though he gets popped, he says he still kind of made his point, like I won, but it didn't matter because he pissed everybody off. This one he lost and got killed. So it's like there was no way out for this guy in respect. Although he did,
but the fact that he owes all this money and he gives that cigar box full of money to those two thugs and puts them on the bus, it's like he's sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
He's pulling a Jesus right there.
But he
exactly.
He probably could. It wasn't enough money, but he probably could have bought himself some time with that money, and instead he gave it away.
Right.
Well, yeah. You know, but one thing I thought about in both these movies, but more so here, is how could you be alive if you do this much drugs this so close together so frequently? Like
I've known some people who have gotten pretty close to this level of drug usage and they're fucked up. Like, but the weird thing is
can they function? I don't understand.
Well, you get better at functioning. Like that's the
well, you learn what drug counters the other one, right?
Right,
and like
exactly.
You learn...
He needs, you need the coke
Right,
to come
you
up
do
from the
some
heroin.
coke,
It's like the former president. He's up on that.
But I seriously was like thinking about people's hearts. I'm like, wouldn't they just explode?
Well,
like,
I mean,
just
this guy is going to die of a drug overdose at some point if he doesn't get shot.
Oh,
Like, it's going to happen.
After he got shot, he would have dropped dead of a heart attack.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
His character's
guys
only
talked
supposed to
about
be
how
30
fucking
years
funny.
old.
Really?
It's
His
very
face looks-
funny.
Harvey Keitel's always looked like he was like 55 at least, like more.
Yeah.
It's like Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper
Yeah.
always looked old. Too.
Old, yeah.
I think at some point in the half of the film,
I mean, Keitel is older than the Wizard of Oz.
he's taking stuff out of the evidence locker or convincing somebody to take stuff out of the evidence locker, I guess drugs. And I'm like, can't this guy do any one good thing? You know, let's wait till the end of that to happen. This guy was.
Yes, he can. He can do
They
one
said
good
bad
thing.
lieutenant, and they weren't fucking kidding, man. It's like up to the
He's
very
a very
end.
bad-
We do
he's
have to
very bad
mention
with that.
it's a shitty name. The name of this movie sucks.
Also,
like
You know what? It has been
It
made to
doesn't
suck by all
bother
the
me.
movies that use this model. Bad teachers, bad Santa, bad this, bad that. I mean,
Bad
but this was
bosses.
probably one of the earlier
this
ones.
was
This is
probably the
this
first
probably
one.
started, yes. Also, this character had no name, just LT.
no, he's the lieutenant.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Which is fucking
Well,
great.
yeah, because the end credits, it's LT's wife, LT's
exactly.
first son.
And it's such a there's so much realistic depiction of, probably because like, you know, they did use a lot of like probably local New Yorkers and blah blah. But I mean, like literally like the production design in this movie is fucking perfect. Like his house with the kids and the TV and the grandma comes out to sitting at the table.
It
sees him
didn't
doing
look art
coke, like-
directed. It just
No,
looked like
it
they
just
went
looked
into
like-
houses.
They didn't get permits. They just
No,
fucking
they
went
just-
around and
yeah.
shot.
Yeah,
I've been in this store.
Yeah.
Like I literally have been in this store.
Uh-huh.
It
Yeah.
looked like this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This is
It's
this
fucking
movie,
great.
This movie was made right when my family was moving out of the city. Like this is
It's
my
hard
some of my last memories of living in New York all the time.
It's hard not to talk about the Portugal, the other movie, because it is such the inverse of this movie in so many ways,
yeah.
including how real you think anything is in it. This feels like everything is real.
Yeah.
The drug use scenes, the corner market, every fucking set.
Because it is real. Like
Yeah.
they're shooting in a real Catholic church. They're shooting in a real
There's
bodega.
a lot
By
of
the way, what
inverse.
Catholic church gave them permission to shoot those scenes, man?
Yeah. Well, obviously
that kind of shit happens in New
obviously the raping scenes were not probably done in the church.
No, those were not.
But him talking to Jesus, the reckoning, that was done in the church for sure.
As is the confession scene. Like, yeah.
And this isn't compared to like the.
I noticed there was a lot of in the end credits. There was a lot of stuff that happened in L.A. too. I don't know if it was just.
It could be like Mean
ADR,
Streets,
but
where they filmed most of it in Los Angeles and just did a couple of.
Yeah.
But
no, a lot of this is definitely New York. You can tell, and one of the ways you can tell that it's New York and not California, if you're really paying attention, is how big the sidewalks are. Sidewalks in California are considerabably wider. New York
stuff like that
sidewalks
is
are
true.
narrow.
That's very true.
And what color the turn signal lights are?
It could have been the
and also, do
interior
you have the Walkman hand walk, or do you have walk don't walk, which is what New York has? I want to point out just one personal note for me, and the reason that I have this scene here as this. I haven't seen this movie in about 15 years. I watched it. I think I've seen it.
Me neither.
Third time I think I've seen it.
Exact.
I was watching the movie and I was thinking to myself, there's something about this gun. Why do I think about this gun? It's because I own it.
And it wasn't an immediate recognition. You had to think about it.
No, because it's been one of those things that's gone around in my mind when I've thought about this movie since then, is why do I keep thinking about his gun? Wow. And when I see it on screen, I'm like, oh, that's why, because I literally bought this.
Can you tell us what gun it is?
Yeah, it's a Ruger. It's a Ruger SP-101 with a 3-inch barrel, and he literally has the same 3-inch.
I want to use that in my movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking for like a beefy, like.
Just pop it in the mail for him.
Pistol.
I'm sure it'd be fine in the mail.
This is Ruger. It's a Ruger SP-101 with a 3-inch barrel. The fun thing about this is it would be the type of thing that somebody like him would carry because it's a 357, but also it's super narrow.
Yeah,
it's only 1.5 inches wide.
It has a weighted barrel too.
Yeah. So it was just crazy to me.
It's a cool fucking gun.
Although you can get an airsoft one of those, Jared.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So
and it looks great with a wide angle lens on it.
It does. But you're comparing this to the sequel or whatever you want to call it. This can be more compared to like a New Hollywood. Some of the like the later ones, like Across 110th Street and like things like that. It's a lot or Shaft. It's like a lot more like corrupt New York cops in this gritty kind of thing, shot on the fly in the 70s and early 80s.
Man, somebody should pick Shaft.
Yeah, I know.
I think Criterion.
We should do both. Actually,
shut your mouth.
We should do the original one and then the what was it, early 2000s remake.
That early 2000s remake is fucking good, dude.
That actually is really good. Yeah.
You know why? Two reasons: Jeffrey Wright and fucking Christian Bale.
Yep, Christian Bale.
Those two performances in that movie. Sorry, go off on a tangent. The movie itself is not great or whatever, but their two performances, those two characters they create, are spectacular.
That was Jeffrey Wright's breakout.
Oh, dude, as Peoples Hernandez.
That and the
Basquiat.
Bringing Out the Dead too. Wasn't he in that?
I don't know, but Basquiat was really good. Julian Schnabel.
Did he play Basquiat in that?
Yeah, he played Basquiat.
It's been so long since I've seen it, I forgot. I didn't know who he was at the time.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, we wandered off. Jim,
sorry.
Do you need a corner, Jim? Okay, good.
Chris, I was
yeah.
surprised. I mean, I saw it years ago, I guess when it first came to video. And I remembered liking it better than I did this time. And I think it's because of it kept making me think of Uncut Gems, which I also didn't enjoy. So,
okay,
that's a travesty, Jim.
I mentioned this.
It was a travesty.
I mentioned this. Movie.
Oh, we need a Jim is wrong. Do you have one of those, Chris?
He's got an everyone.
Come on, Chris.
Everyone is wrong.
He's gonna find it.
Hey, Jim is wrong. Okay.
The seldom seen Jim is wrong sign.
I mentioned this movie in the Uncut Gems review because this is the reason that Mike Francesa is in Uncut Gems is because Chris Russo's the radio voice in this, and he held that grudge against his partner for fucking 3 decades until he got the opportunity to be on screen in Uncut Gems. And Russo is such a good choice to be the radio guy in this because he is such an obnoxious prick, and he is just an obnoxious prick every time he's on the radio. I used to listen to those fucking guys. Like that was like what my dad would listen to in the car.
Right.
And I fucking hate Chris Russo and I hate Mike Francesa, and them being assholes in these two movies is such a great just New York moment of like fuck both of you. Like
You're
also I'm wearing all my Mets shit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Tad,
Yeah.
that you bringing that up made me remember the other thing I remembered from '92 when I saw it the first time, which is the scene where Harvey Keitel shoots his car radio in the
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That was pretty
and then he puts the siren, the light on his car, and drives away.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That is
So funny.
fucking hysterical.
That's real cokehead logic too.
You
Like
guys
Yeah,
are
right.
talking about how fucking funny this movie is, and I
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
Ferrara
Oh,
thought
it's-
it was comedy.
it's very funny.
I laughed my ass off. Admittedly, there was a scene that they wrote and didn't shoot where someone robs an electronics store. Actually, Bad Lieutenant robs an electronics store. They call it in. He shows up as the investigating officer, takes the report, throws the report in the garbage.
Yeah.
They don't recognize him.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's what you do. That's what you do. You kill someone, and you show up and go, "Who the fuck did that?"
And then the hot dog guy, the meme,
Fucking
right?
hard watching this.
It's
time.
like the photographer from Road to Perdition.
Right.
So okay, well, I guess we can
I
go
just, I mean, yeah, it's you. I mean, I like this more this time because I just
Me too.
laughed a lot more than I remembered laughing at the
I can also finally stop pestering Chris about picking it.
Well, yeah, I
There
mean,
you go.
Tad kind of put this idea in my
Well,
head.
I don't know what made me, because I bought the Blu-ray last year.
He
I
stole
think
the
because
fake rap.
well, here's the thing. The R-rated version, it wasn't available for streaming until about 2 years ago. And when it first hit the streaming, it was the R-rated version. So it was either Amazon or HBO Max, but they didn't have the NC-17. And I went to watch it and I was so pissed that they didn't. And so then I scoured the internet for, can I buy the Blu-ray? And I found it and I bought it. And then a year later, here we are, and they've got ahead and let it go.
This is one of the first movies to actually be released NC-17.
Yeah.
Like
We-
because the NC-17 rating was pretty new at this point, and almost nobody would.
Henry and June was the first. His cover was
right.
earlier than this.
And
You know,
Henry
we-
Portrait of Serial
This played at the Alexandria Theater when I was working there, and it played for about a week, and some people showed up. But the thing is, I remember watching it because I had to like put the print together and watch the whole movie. I thought it was like, yeah, it's pretty gritty, and the language is pretty foul, and a lot of bad things happen. But must have been something about the early '90s where there are a lot of films like this. Back
If you have a dick on screen, it's NC-17. That used to be the
Yeah.
rule.
yeah,
Like,
but either
that
way,
was-
it didn't strike me as being that shocking when I first saw it. It's
Maybe
so-
because you weren't watching it like a theater goer, though. You were.
I promise, I was
sort of
watching. I make sure the splicers were all right.
But
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
this movie,
That gives you some distance.
Yeah,
Scott.
exactly. Yeah.
but what this movie has going for it, beyond the shock value, is that it's actually quality. Like it's actually a good story
is
with
some
good
ridiculous-
acting and
It's
good.
very tidy, and I was never bored. It was like it moved nice.
Fincher had to go back and forth with the MPAA about the dick in Fight Club, like how long it was allowed to be on screen.
Yeah, the Flash.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it's that like that's the thing is like Americans are so fucking prudish about this stuff. Like you can have fully naked women engaged in
Yeah, it's bullshit.
simulated sex acts, but if you have a dick, it's NC-17. Like,
We have
it's-
There it
is
is.
side note for my film. We are making a prosthetic dick, and we're having a close up of a hand job, and I can't wait to shoot that and see what happens with the film. I think we're gonna have probably an NC-17 and an R cut.
I can
But
probably cut this. If you want to keep
but-
this quiet, I can cut this out. So
no, our special. I don't need to keep it quiet. I'm so excited. Our special effects lady is making
You're
a.
downright
This-
proud of it, aren't you?
God,
Making
this
it-
is a plug. This is a plug.
Yeah,
The
We're-
film is
well, 'cause
called
I'm-
Blood
'cause I'm-
Wine.
because I'm with Tad. Like,
Jared
why
Wright
do you
is
get to
the
show
director.
titties and ass all the time, but you can't show the penis? Like, what the fuck? That's not fair. That's
No, it's not.
sexist.
Or is
Well,
that one
like,
that
we
Stranger by the
we watched what was it by the
Stranger by the Lake?
Stra-
It was
Stranger by the
a
Lake,
television
Yeah,
thing,
like
and
they-
then
like-
some.
but
Yeah,
still,
that's France.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. Like there's nothing inherently bad about showing a penis, showing sex with a penis. Like it's
Obviously,
not.
you did not take anything away from Zardoz.
In fact,
Or
if you
Watchmen,
watch
think
the,
about
so I saw the world premiere of Infinity Pool at Sundance, sitting like 2 rows away from Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård. And if you watch it, I watched it when it came out in the theater here, and this scene was cut. And if you stream it, it's cut. But if you get the NC-17 version, there is also a hand job scene in that with a prosthetic dick, but they actually put a pump in it, and it shoots cum, and it's Mia's hand, and it's just a close up. And I thought they're doing what I kind of wanted to do, and it's completely cut out of the theatrical run and the streaming. Like you can't see it unless you get the Blu-ray.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Good to know. Mental note.
You know, Cronenberg, Brandon Cronenberg.
Terrible film has interesting scene. Got it. All right. So,
It's not a terrible film. It's not a good.
Was a terrible.
film.
Okay, wait. Okay, thumbs. Wow.
Oh,
back to the
Oh,
matter
dude,
at
it was
hand.
very enjoyable watching it again.
Yeah.
That's a term I could use. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'll probably be 15 years before I watch this again. But
but Chris, you know me. It's not an enjoyable watch, but I could watch this multiple times. I like the depressing shit. Like I like the fucking.
I just think it's hilarious. I don't know. This is one like I don't.
It is
And
very
yet you balk at a dog being
So I'm fucked
killed.
up. I think this is
Yeah, interesting, huh?